I'll be diplomatic and say older electrician is coming today. Okay? And remember, my mom had the emergency. I lost 2 days, 2 entire days. Okay? The older set in his ways will likely arrive early like he did the first time. Supposed to come here at 8 in the fucking morning. We all know I'm not a morning person. I have a shitload to do. I made sure none of the plugs are covered. I cleaned up the living room since my mom's not here. But electrician's coming. There's a lot to do. I have a shitload to do. As you well know, very well know, when these things go down with my mom, and just as an aside, Joe's like tough fucking shit. That's how it always is with these places. They all want their pound of flesh. What that means is my life doesn't stop because my mom constantly puts herself in danger, and bad things sometimes happen and sometimes don't. And this time, it ended near tragic for her. When all she had to do, I'm sleeping right beside her intentionally, even though I'd rather sleep in my own bed. Of course I would. Because then I choose to protect you as much as humanly possible, as I'm able or anyone be able to do, humanly possible within this environment. It's not a professional environment. And you decide a few nights ago you're going to just, you can't sleep, so who cares about Laura needing to sleep? You're going to sing and talk loud for hours. I have to find stuff. I don't know what the electrician wants to do first. I know I've been piling up in my basement as tall as whatever, 10 feet tall, I don't know. Boxes, wrapping, the paper, packing paper, tons of that Joe's just going to burn in his backyard. Because it's too flimsy, and he says, I said, you're not going to recycle it? He's like, it'll be too much to recycle, Laura. I'm not doing it, You have to only recycle to a point, and then it becomes ridiculous. He's going to burn all the paper. Don't know what's going to happen with all the boxes. I don't want all those boxes. I had to open them all up, and they get ruined opening them. You know what I mean? Most of them get ruined opening them, and the boxes aren't $1 million. If I move again, I just buy new boxes. I need to know what's in every single fucking box. Speaking of which, Joe has above and beyond, over and above and beyond, saved my life, okay? But I can still get irritated at things. It can also tell me, like, Joe, can definitely be, even though he won't, he'll deny it. I admit my flaws, which are far too many. Far too many. I'm lucky Joe wants anything to do with me. Especially when the package deal is my mom. But he has his own flaws and his own whatever, okay? Remember, there weren't that many boxes that were sent to Joe's. Most of it went on my pack rat container, right? And when I was visiting for that week, I consolidated stuff as well. I point blank said to them long before our fight, okay? Which, by the way, when I was there and I stayed overnight 2 nights ago, rather because I didn't want to come home to where I experienced this trauma with my mom, he showed me that suction cup grab bar. I thought they were like normal grab bars. I don't like that. They're pieces of crap. They wouldn't have worked. I also saw a shower. My mom could have showered there fine. Whatever. He says I make up narratives, and he wasn't trying to get out of it once he knew. But whatever. I disagree. But the reason that I quote unquote ended our friendship wasn't over that per se. It's just I don't feel like he really likes me. And I'm so dependent upon him. It's like a one-way street. Even he said, I'm not getting anything out of. I've put my life on hold for the past 2 months for you and your mom, and I know. And I repaid you in the only way I'm able, which is financially. Bought you the fucking trailer that will benefit me as well, because you're gonna come here and mow my lawn with your lawnmower. And also, I'm supposed to cut down trees, and he says that it might be too expensive for if whoever does your trees to, and that wasn't in the inspection. That's just something that Joe strongly recommends I do, which I'm going to do. Anyway, back to Joe before the guy comes knocking on my door early, because that is something he did the first time and probably will do this time. But maybe not that when it's this early, but who the fuck knows? It's a pet peeve of mine, but here I am in a new area and it's just different. Plus, I wasn't able to get checks like I thought I'd be able to do. So which means because with being in the, country or whatever, I don't know how they're going to respond when I'm using, it's, individual people recommended by my realtor, but the other person recommended by my realtor never got back to me about doing the chimney stuff. Just never got back to me at all, and she even personally contacted him. He must not be interested, name of my realtor, so now I got to find someone else. And then the soffit repair that wasn't even in the inspection that Joe thought was new, but I sent a picture to the guy who was supposed to come if there were not this emergency with my mom, and now he's being huffy or he's being whatever. Like, it's not my fault my mom had the emergency. It's not my fault I had the electrician coming today. This was before I ever knew you. If I don't get an answer of when you want me to come, well, no hard feelings. If this is too much for you, what am I supposed to do? Tell me a day and time, because he was supposed to come Saturday when the traumatic thing happened with my mom, emergency, whatever I kept it. And I'm gone for 2 days. Stayed overnight in a hotel, and then I stayed overnight at Joe's because I did not want to fucking come back here. And Joe was nice enough to let me stay there. Plus, I brought all my underwear with me. And it wasn't a hotel. I stayed out where I could do, like, laundry. And I really just wanted my underwear and a couple other things clean in Joe's washing machine. But even if that hadn't been the case, I needed to just not come home. And we had things we had to do yesterday. And then I find out I can't get checks. I thought they don't do temporary checks anymore. I don't know that, which means I have to use my mom's checkbook, her checks, do it power of attorney, and these old timers, these people around here who do work on your home might not like that. That might concern them. Well, tough shit. There's nothing more I can do. There's nothing I can do about it. I tried to go to the bank. I tried to get checks. In the olden days, they gave temporary checks. They don't do that anymore. They got rid of that. Not my fault. Not my fault this happened to my mom. None of this is my fault. I'm doing the best I fucking can under just okay? So everyone wants their pound of flesh. I have to. Nobody told me from the hospital yesterday. When my mom's in a hospital, I hate it because she calls me from her room phone and then I think it's a doctor and I have to answer. That's not the case in the nursing facility, nursing home. Then it's separate. Then it's separate. You know that they're calling you versus your mom, your loved one. It's separate. Especially if I let her have her own phone, which I intend to do if it's allowed. The one that kept her that 100 days that time, they felt just by everything that they were forwarded from the hospital. Remember, that was the bad facility. That was a low-rated facility in Massachusetts, that first one she was in, last year. They just based on now, we don't feel like she'll ever be able to get out of here, but I would never keep her with you. I would find something better, even where I was planning on staying in Massachusetts. I would find something better than you. But they did keep her the 100 days, thinking that they had her in a dementia unit. She wasn't allowed to have her own phone. See? But she wasn't allowed to have any phone, so there was no temptation. There was no phone at that place. There was nothing to tempt her. Versus in the future when she has one and she can't use it, I don't blame her. It's torment for her. She acted up with them. She threw phones. She pulled them out of the wall because she tried to use it and her fingers were too big and she couldn't do it. It's better to have no fucking phone. Okay? But Joe, I only, by pure chance, went there. I told him, this was long before we were fighting, I said, because remember I have all this stuff from 4 years ago from when I was when everything was shipped there and it stayed there, right, in his garage. And I said to him, I know what I said. I said, is all my stuff out of your house from recent? It's not that much. You know, inside your house, outside. Oh, yeah. That was a lie. And I walk in the guest room, you know, and there's 4 boxes there. And I have to tread lightly. Because, you know, Joe he gets how he gets. And I was afraid to say anything to him. So I was very, you know, nonchalant about it. He's like, oh, well, I thought you meant bullshit. You knew I meant everything. Of course I didn't mean just out in your garage. I wanted everything so I'd have it separate from when you do bring all my stuff from years ago. He knew. But he's going to say he didn't. And I have to drop it because he's saving my life and has been saving my life. And, you know, I'd probably already be, who knows. But that's between him and the God. He believes in God and he knows. He said, I thought you meant just, of course, you know, Joe, you knew I didn't mean just in my garage. I wanted everything now so we don't mix it up when you bring the new stuff. Of course I want everything. The stuff in your house was food that I wanted. He knew, and he was right there when I walked in the room, but he's not going to admit that he did that. He's not going to admit it. And again, if I wasn't afraid of him, how he can react, because even the day when all this happened with the trauma, I had to say to him, because I'm in a state of shock, and it is my mom, and just because, and he's like getting on my case about this, that, or whatever, and starting to get upset. Because I'm not telling you need to stay at a hotel, but you probably should, and not stay overnight. But and then he was getting upset about something else. I said, Joe, stop it. Just stop it. Stop it. Please, dear God, stop it. Okay, I'm falling apart. I just had trauma, clean with my mom and blood, and stop it. Well, you're trying to say this. I don't care. I'm in a state of fucking shock trauma. And we just found out the motherfuckers, they left the wheelchair outside. It could have been stolen. It could have been pinned. I can't lift it up. And the motherfuckers shouldn't even have taken her to the wheelchair. They supposed to take her in a stretcher. Stop it. I have to concentrate on what I'm going to bring. I have to concentrate on packing. And then we lost time because the doctor called. And I talked to her for like 40 minutes. Okay. I don't like that I have to be like this with Joe. Because he doesn't have to be like that with me. I would know damn well, and I know what I said. I said, it's everything from your house inside and out. He said, yes. There were 4 boxes sitting right there in plain sight. He knew damn well, and he's been over here so many times since then, he could have brought 1 box at a time in his car. And he didn't. And I didn't know they were there, and I would have never known. And it makes me, I don't like that. I don't like that I never would have known, because I deal with that with things that have happened with my mom where I find out after the fact and I never would have known, you know, what these professionals were doing to her. And I never, if I hadn't shown up, or I never would have known if I hadn't stayed over at Joe's, that the boxes were sitting right there when I point blank said, and then I trust him and then I drop it. He had every opportunity to take those goddamn boxes one at a time when he's coming over here left and right to do this and that, and he didn't. This is long before we got in the fight. Okay, weeks ago. But you think he's gonna, but I shouldn't have to be afraid to say it. Because no one would have to be afraid of me. He said, he lied to himself. He lied. He's like, I thought you meant just, you know damn well I didn't mean just out in the garage. And I know that I would say in your home and out. Of course I went and said everything. It's everything that was sent to you recently here. And he said yes, and that was a fucking lie. And I should be able to say to him, hey, Joe, you know you're lying to yourself, and not have to risk that he's going to start yelling. Because he would have. because everything he does for me and everything I'm putting but it's not right that I didn't know they were there. It's not right that I'm led to believe I have everything when I don't. And I'm sorry, when he acts that way and I have to be afraid of him, you think I'm going to be jumping to like live with him or something? I would never, because he's brought it up, even I would never want to live with him in his home. I'd feel he's a control freak and I would feel like it wasn't my home. And it's those things that he does. Okay? I walk in, I'm like, you gotta fucking be kidding me. I had every right to confront him immediately. But I didn't. I said, I treaded lightly because you have to be careful. And I said, why are my boxes there? Oh no, I thought you meant just in the garage. Bullshit. I could call him on it. Bullshit. And if I did, he would have started yelling. So I just said, well, I need to bring them tomorrow. And he's like, well, I don't know if they're going to fit in my car. I'm thinking to myself, we're going to make them fit. And I managed to sleep at his house. I crashed. I passed out at 11, but I woke up at 4 in the morning. And I looked through the boxes. They were all food. That's why they were kept in his house instead of in the garage. And it's stuff I wanted. And he's like, well, I didn't do that on purpose. Whatever, Joe. I wanted it, so I brought it out to his front thing, and it was not negotiable. We're taking it. It will fit in your friggin' car. We'll make it fit in the back seat. It's just 4 boxes that I actually consolidated into 3. I don't like that. I love him, but I don't like that. I shouldn't have to be afraid at all. I should be able to say, and he should say, oh yeah, you're right. I should have brought him. I wasn't thinking. No, it's like, I thought you meant just in my, no, you did not think. And I made a point of saying it's every box that you got recently, as in this year, my recent move in my home right now. Oh yes, there they are. Liar. Liar. But you're going to deny it and act like you didn't realize or didn't know. No. That's not true. But he'd be like, you don't know my heart. I didn't do it on purpose. Whatever, Joe. They're sitting right there. They're my boxes. I mean, it's not like he tried to hide them or anything, but he knew when I said in the home or out, he said, yes, that wasn't true. And he never corrected it. And it's been 3 weeks. He never said, oh, by the way, when I told you had everything, you don't. There's still 4 boxes in my room. No, I never would have fucking known. And I don't like that because I feel like I just have no control in this life. And and there's been other things like that I never would have known. I know in my heart I would never live with him in his house. Pay off his mortgage and live there. Nope. I'd never feel like it was my home. I'd feel like I was just, I'd never be able to feel like it was my home. That's why it was not up, even if my mom could have lived there, but she couldn't have. It wasn't. I said, no, we're getting a new place. Either with or without you, you can, we'll try to find a place where you can sell your home and eventually be with us. That didn't work out either to be in my price range. And then in hindsight, well, I probably should have got a mortgage. Yeah, you should have. Well, you know what, Joe? Maybe it wasn't meant to be. You wouldn't have been able to handle my mom in this out of control state. But then he wouldn't have been there anyway. He would have still had to sell his home, and that would have taken months. So he wouldn't have been there anyway. But we would have been in a nicer place. But my mom still would have been just as demanding, and we would have been further away, which Joe could help us even less. So the fact is, my mom can't handle. She wants everything done at once. And I'm one person trying to unpack, trying to get situated. I don't drive. We can't go anywhere. My mom just, and she's sabotaging what she wants. She wants everything done, but she's sabotaging not just hindering my ability to do it through no fault of her own. She's intentionally sabotaging it because she just, like that, not giving me a chance to do anything at all in between taking care of her and bringing her to the bathroom constantly and feeding her and everything else, helping her dress, everything. Yeah, I did not like that, but I had to bite my tongue. And I had every right not to like it. He wouldn't like it if it was his stuff, and he came to my house weeks later just by pure fucking chance and sees boxes after he had said, hey, is everything at my house that, they're sitting right there. But I was led to believe they weren't there. I was led to believe everything was here, and I don't like, that's not fair to me because I wouldn't have known. All right, that's on 15, so I don't know if anybody's... He said he was still coming. You know what I mean? It's not right. And I had a right to call him on it, and I was afraid to. I was afraid to. So I did it very, tentatively, very timidly. But I did firmly say we're taking them. Oh, I don't know if they're going to fit my car. Like, Joe, come on, give me a fucking break. You led me to believe everything was here. I find out totally by accident. Never would have known. Who knows when you would have told me. And plus, I don't want them mixed up with the old stuff. See how I have to just have no rights in this life? He didn't tell me they were there, and this is my fucking crap. I don't want that mixed up. So if he had brought it over and mixed it up, I would have thought it was all old stuff when it wasn't. But that's how I have to be with Joe, because he's a control freak. He won't admit it, though. The realtor told him you have a superiority complex. He won't admit that either. Female realtor. And now I'm dealing with men. The guy was supposed to do my soffit, okay? And it might be other stuff, because remember the person here was a would-be home fixer, one of those do-it-yourself things that doesn't always work out the greatest, as we've already learned, okay? Well, by the picture, that doesn't look new. That looks like something that was already there. Okay, so then the inspector missed it. And then I find out from Joe, I thought Joe was here the entire time the inspector was, but Joe might have got here late. But I'm lucky he went at all, because I wouldn't be able to go with my mom, But you never told me that either. You told me you were here the entire time. You didn't say, he's like, no, he had already been here and already done the outside of the house. Were you late? Does it really matter, Laura? But I would thought, I'm late. You see, you have to walk on eggshells with Joe all the time. All the time. I thought you were here the entire time. You are saying you don't believe that was there, but then you also said the paint in the driveway, you think it's somebody sabotaged me or something, and then you looked at pictures, oh yeah, it was there. But that up in there, you definitely think the inspector would have saw it. This guy's insisting it's not new, it's not an animal like Joe thinks, who's not the professional. He says that was like that. I'm like, I don't know. What do I know? I said, but the inspector would have found. He's like, I don't give too much credit to inspectors that go through your real estate agent. I think they get their money and they just, I don't know. Again, I was told I would get a good deal, and that was how we determined how much money I got off of the price of the house on the other stuff that needed to be done. And now he's not getting back to me, so who knows what I'm going to have to pay for that. And now we're finding other things that need to be done. And the guy looked at the picture. He's like, I'm not going to, if this needs more work, it's going to be more. This is if we just have to fix the soffit. That even Joe, I said, well, my friend said he could do it, but he doesn't have a ladder. But I don't want a half-assed job anyway. Not to say Joe would do a half-assed job, but this guy's like, I think those look short. They look like short panels. We might have to go and get stuff, and then it's going to be high. Whatever. I have the money. I'm repairing my house. End of discussion. Of course, my mom throwing her weight around. How much is that? How much is that? And this is my house. And that, no, it's not, Mom. It's not. It's not. It isn't. You don't give me anything I want. I take care of you. You're delusional. Okay? We were going to set up your piano. We can't do it instantly. We just moved in here. I will try to get you piano lessons just like we did in Massachusetts, but we had a nice person there. We don't know anyone around here. I am getting you in the senior bus, but it takes time. It takes paperwork. It takes the paperwork being mailed out and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We depend on Joe for everything, even for if I need stamps. I don't drive, that's reality. Get a car, I'm going to get a car. You live in La La Land. You should have got me a Craftmatic adjustable bed. Mom, you wanted you didn't want a hospital bed that we get for free through your insurance. It's like we did in Massachusetts. But let me go back to the same fucking thing. I can get her a $3,000 Craftmatic. She still needs to not get up on her own to go to the bathroom. She fell 2 weeks ago or last week, whatever, in the bathroom with the walker right there. With the walker right there. She needs to have help, even if we have her a medical bed or if I pay thousands because she does for the Craftmatic or whatever. She still needs to call me to help her, assist her, and it doesn't matter. You understand? I was going to look into getting her in a medical bed. I was not going to look into getting her that I believe is thousands of dollars. Maybe it's not. I don't know. But I do know the medical bed is set up with a mattress that if she pees through it, it's like a kind of mattress, you know? My mom lives in fucking La La Land. Like Joe says, she doesn't want your help, or she only wants your help on her terms, which are delusional. That are delusional. I have to find my fucking 2023 calendar. You guys know I write down everything. I'll be able to instantly. But again, everyone wants their pound of flesh. Once they medically clear my mom, and then I was talking to someone over the weekend. I couldn't really talk to a doctor, and I couldn't talk to whatever. But now, yesterday, no one called me. But the guy the day before when I was there, oh yeah, they're going to discharge your mom tomorrow. I'm like, no, they're not. And he misunderstood. He's like, I represent the team, but you know, they're gone or they're, it's not your mom's, I'm not your mom's doctor per se. I don't really know, but they're not going to discharge her. They're going to medically clear her, and then they're going to work fucking with me because this isn't my first or second or third rodeo, and now I know my rights. You're not just going to throw her in any place you feel like it. You're going to work with me. We're going to try to find a place. I'm going to find out your official policy of how long before I have to take whatever is available if they offer a bed, even if it's not a place I want. Just like you don't know if you're going to have to take Ubers, you don't, wherever they send, or you don't know if you can get there by bus. You're in a different area, a different state. I know. But it's really, really important, as I learned, and even if you read online, that you're there that first time. Look at the horror that found that time. They discharged her, they medically cleared her. She'd been in there 3 weeks, and then they 2 days after being sent to this horrible, horrible facility, had 1-star Medicare and regular. And I can't prove that they did anything, but she's found non-responsive, not breathing. And I fault everybody for that. The hospital, them, everybody, okay? Those motherfuckers. I didn't even want her in there. I wanted to wait to see if at least we could get her into a better one. And I did have the right because you didn't call me all weekend, and now it's rush, rush, rush. She's been medically cleared. Tough shit. You were supposed to